Oh.
So, look, first things first. Hello and welcome. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Second thing, congratulations on the Born and Bred podcast.
Thank you very much.
Unbelievable. And you've managed to do in your first episode higher quality, better guests, better production than I have at episode 300. So massive, massive congrats.
And that was nothing to do with Simone and I. That is purely to do with the team behind us.
But
100%.
see, this is the thing. You have the ability to give stuff to other people.
Mm-hmm.
I am slowly trying to become that. So that's actually still a you thing. So congratulations.
But also, you did the groundwork for the Born and Bred podcast, like.
What is it,
You weren't meant to be the one to dig us out. That was...
So like the Best of Belfast podcast, they listened to every episode and they were like, that's a really great concept. Let's do the same thing.
This will be so awkward, right? Because I'm gonna say I hadn't listened to your podcast before we started doing our podcast. Okay, so
Wow.
I mean, that sounds horrible, but I'm trying
The
to
only
make
person in the
it
country,
out
obviously.
to say that I didn't copy it, and then afterwards I was like, oh yeah, that is a bit similar.
Well,
We're kinda
imitations
doing a
is the
similar
greatest form of
story.
flattery. And then also
Yes.
good ideas. You know, you ever like see someone do something, you're like, mate, I came up with that idea like 10 years ago. Good ideas. They're just...
Pablo Picasso once said,
Oh, here we go.
good artists copy, but great artists steal.
Boom. Essentialism. Page 35.
But also, that's the thing. So, like in school, you're taught, like, don't copy each other's work.
Yeah.
And then what we notice in business is, like, if someone's doing it well, copy them.
Bro, come
Yeah.
on.
So, like, the whole system is broken.
It is broken.
Don't
totally
fix what isn't broken.
Exactly.
Oh, Platitude Central today.
This is good. This is your role for you're
Yeah,
fulfilling
baby.
the co-host role very, very well. The job description was throw as many Instagram quotes as
Quotes
you
in.
possibly can with our guests today.
Be a,
and so
be a
far,
walking
killing
Pinterest.
You are.
it. So third things third. Mike, congratulations on marrying Caragh. Well done.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did you guys meet?
Congrats.
What's your story? Actually, what's your engagement story?
We're going to go there.
Let's go.
Oh, yeah.
Do you want to...
Go with the first meeting.
I'll go with the first meeting story
Okay.
because it's probably as good as the engagement story.
Great. Well, skip
Just
the,
because you're
skip the
a great
engagement story. then.
storyteller. So I'll not tell any of the stories because I'm
Yeah,
telling
you just give me
stories.
prompts. And
Yeah.
These for this 15 minutes.
Fill in the wee details.
Can you not speak for 15 minutes? Is that okay? Yeah, cool.
Don't talk to
Not
my
listening
wife
to my
like
podcast. Flip's sake.
So way back when, my cousin was entered into a CrossFit competition. I think it was a 4-person's team event up on the North Coast. And at the time, we had a caravan up there. So he said to me, why don't you come up for the weekend, like come and watch me competing in this CrossFit competition. So I was like, class, let's go. And I think it was half term because my mum and dad went, so my mum's a teacher. So she was off. So it was the 3 of us went up and went around this CrossFit competition on a Saturday morning. And the place was packed, right? It was like just in a barn, right? It's really small, packed out room.
I meant that metaphorically, and I was trying to understand what is like in a barn mean. Oh, it's actually
it was an actual barn.
Right.
Yeah, it was an actual barn on a caravan site. So random. Anyway, head in, right? Music's pumping, and I think I might have been a little bit late for the first event for my cousin, right? So I cruised in. I saw him, but then literally, as soon as I saw him, then I was just drawn to this incredibly stunning, hard-working young female, right?
I thought he was talking about you for a second.
Close.
Well,
Sorry.
And as the story goes, I basically spent no time chatting with my cousin, hanging out with my cousin, the one who had invited me there because on his team was Caragh. So I made the connection, realised that she was an avid lover of coffee, and then later in the day I was going to Lost and Found for lunch, so went there, and because I'd made the connection, I was like, add her on Facebook, send her a photo of Lost and Found.
No, you
Because-
didn't even
Days.
do the ad.
Wow.
You didn't add.
Did I
You
not?
just
Straight into the DMs?
into the
Oh,
DMs.
class.
Yeah.
Who needs friendship? Just
No,
straight in.
no.
And this
no
was
friend request.
this was before sliding into the DMs was actually a
I
thing.
know.
Well, when you said Facebook, I was like, oh, right, so it's like 2001, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I was 6.
You're shout out to 95.
Yeah. She was
year.
slinging weights about when she was 4. So that was it. Just send her a photo of my coffee, and the rest is history.
Wow. And how long have you been married for?
Silence.
3.5, almost years.
Wow.
Yeah, September 19.
That's a whole undergraduate degree.
literally.
You guys have a degree in marriage?
No, I didn't do one.
Oh.
We're probably sitting at about a 2-1. A solid 2-1.
Mate,
right
2-1
now.
I was
run.
going to say, like, where are you heading with this?
You'll take a 2-1.
Yeah, 2-1's great.
So first question for you, Mike, is how would you rate your marriage in terms of a university grade? Your lovely wife said 2-1. How do you feel?
I would say, I would probably have to agree with that.
Yeah.
I was going to say first, but there's probably a few things we could work on, you know?
Well, it sounds like we've asked the right people onto the show for today.
Yeah.
LP.
Yeah, I'm lucky enough, like, because I know them both so well, and whenever you know we were thinking about doing this, I was like, who will I take on? Because there's a lot of people that you could get on and have a really interesting convo, but I was like, I want to actually talk to Mike and Caragh and like dissect it, because it's one of my favourite things, because like I am the opposite of you, the complete antithesis, as they say. So like I'm not married, not lucky enough to be married just yet. I haven't met the one, the love of my life, and so like your reality is such a stark contrast to what I'm used to in terms of the commitment, how the relationship works. Like, it's a partnership, it's a working thing, right? And it baffles me because, you know, like, one thing I want to talk to you about, right? And there's a bit of a story, as with everything. You'll get an 8-minute intro with everything I do. Like,
The timer's running. You've about
Here,
8.5.
That's 7.5 more minutes than I need. But no, listen, so I was watching, you're never going to get this, but I was watching a Netflix documentary show. Obviously, you and I both love our comedy. And I was watching Chris Rock. And he's got this show on Netflix called Tambourine. And I was like, what a shit name for a comedy special. But anyway, it was good enough to lure me in. So obviously it wasn't shit, like. But I started watching it, and essentially the essence of it is that sometimes in a relationship or in a marriage especially, you have to be, you know, the guy in the back holding the tambourine while watching your partner go out and shine, you know, go out, do their thing, express what it is that their passions, hobbies, interests, you know. So, like, I'm fascinated by this because this was a concept. Maybe it's because I'm a little selfish, I don't know. Or maybe it's because I haven't had to go to that depth yet. But, like, the tambourine, Mike, this is something that I like to talk to you about, but I never feel like I get it right whenever I'm... Because you're like, no, this is normal. Like, this is what... And I am like, what are you talking about? This isn't normal. So, like, you know, when Caragh goes out and does her football or does her CrossFit or does all those projects, you know, what does that mean for you? Do you put your life on hold? Do you support that? Do you know what I mean? Do you know where I'm going with that?
So the funny thing is, and we have had this conversation before, right? But I feel like you only see it from that side because you're like driven by also that kind of like elite performance, like all that sort of thing. But you got to remember that in the start of our marriage, I was also running a business and making no money from it, and I was living like my dream. And so Caragh, in effect, was almost like the one that was doing the mundane, like she was the one keeping the beat.
Big breadwinner.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But like
The bacon bringer.
But it is like, but that's just any relationship. Like, I think you like, if you're both on the stage, then like something in the background is going to slip. Do you know what I mean? So like,
maybe, and it's probably my immaturity, but like, was that something that you had to grow into or come like to know yourself, if that makes sense? Or was that like a steep learning curve?
no, I don't think so. I think that's just how any like good partnership works, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter whether you're like in a relationship with someone or like you're working alongside someone. Like, if you're both doing the exact same thing all the time, then you're not going to get the task probably complete, like whatever you're working towards. So like, I think, I would think I'm very self-aware, but I also think you're very, like, Caragh knows herself, like, is very like real. So I think, yeah, I don't know, it's just,
I've always seen it from your perspective too, Lewis. Like, that I always look at Michael and think he's the one always making the sacrifices for me, but maybe he doesn't see it the same way. You know, that he looks like you said, whenever you were trying to run a business and trying to pursue your thing, that I was giving up things as well. But I always look at myself as like the selfish one. And I could never put myself in his shoes, and I could never be like the supporter, the coach. You know, I admire coaches so much and look at those people and think like, you know, how do you give yourself to someone else, like, and not pursue like your own passion? But that is their passion, you know, is to be there for other people. But I think there is obviously a difference in people, and you know, some people are coaches and motivators and supporters, and then other people are the ones that have to be like out there on the floor as such. And I don't think that either one is negative or positive. But I always sometimes then look at myself and go, maybe that's a negative, that I can't be selfless enough to like be the one who's, you know, in the background as such.
Yeah.
But and that's another thing that we've spoken about. Like, I would consider myself like an advocate. So like, I love when other people win.
Yeah, you do.
Like, I just love that. So like, whether it be in relationship or business or sport, like, I don't know, there's just not as much joy in it for me whenever I'm the one on the podium. Do you know what I mean?
And I can't understand that mindset.
Can't understand that.
And you probably can't either. You struggle with that?
Like, I love seeing people get after it, and like, you know, if they've worked hard on something, achieving that's epic. But like, I'm on Caragh's boat right now, because that's just, we look at the world through the similar lens in that sense. And that's why I'm always dumbfounded whenever you give me these incredibly simple answers to an incredibly intricate question in my head, and I'm like, no, he's definitely
But
right.
I think I get a lot of energy from like watching someone pursue that thing that they're so passionate about. So going back to the first day, like, I saw Caragh, the thing that caught my eye was like, she was so like single-minded, like so focused on what she was doing, and like it was almost as if nobody else could get in her way. You know, she had the goal, and like she was the one getting there first, like, and that was the thing for me. I was like, this is incredible.
And I think immediately then that's why from that moment I was like, this guy's the one for me. Like, someone who sees that in me, and that's the first thing that they pick out about me. Like, I would never have pictured myself in a CrossFit space being like, this is where somebody will be attracted to me. You know, whenever I'm like drenched in sweat, like slobber coming out of my mouth, and I'm suffering,
you know,
and someone's like, I love that.
Yeah,
well, like, 'cause
she's hot.
That was going to be that was going to be my next question. So like, obviously that's what attracted, because I was going to ask you, so that's obviously something that attracted you to see, but then like you just countered that's something that you were attracted to in Mike, and that if I hear someone that actually wants to genuinely support my ambitions and my goals and be there for me, whether it's pretty or ugly, and that's something that's even interesting for me to hear you say that. Like, I'm very surprised. Do you strike up similar things within your marriage than that?
I definitely relate to what you were saying, this idea of like, you take turns in different seasons of your marriage. So like, my wife's German, and so like, we met in America and we moved over here and didn't plan to stay here, and yet here we are. And she was the bringer of bacon for probably like the first 3 years of our marriage. So I was studying, I was working for Deliveroo, I was trying to get an Instagram page called Best of Belfast off the ground. I was writing for money. I had no real clue what I was doing. And she was a full-time nurse. So she was pulling the 50-hour weeks in ICU, real hard graft, and she was the financial bedrock for us. And I felt like, my wife would never have kind of put it this way, but like throughout those years, I kind of had this sense, and I don't know if you felt like this too, Mike, but I was like, okay, like, I'm accruing almost like a form of debt, and it will be my pleasure to pay that back to you someday. And for Jackie, like, that thing was having kids. So she always wanted to have kids. She always wanted to be really available for the kids the first few years. And that kind of gave me like a clock, like a countdown. I was like, I have to get my business sorted so that I can give Jackie what she wants. Do you know what I mean? And so now that role's completely reversed, where I am the one working, I'm the one providing for the family, and I'm enabling her to do the thing that she wants to do. And it just so happens that I'm really delighted for our family as well. But I was thinking about you, like, I think a lot of people in hospitality use the word energy. You're like, I get my energy from this. And I remember having someone on the podcast way back in the day, I think it was Bill Woolsey, like merchant hotel guy, and he said hospitality sets the stage for people to live their lives. And I think like you get a lot of joy out of setting the stage for other people to thrive, because not everyone, let's keep the stage metaphor going, right?
That's it.
Not everyone can be Lady Gaga,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
But Lady Gaga has a massive team around her who they just want to see her win.
The term, the way I picture it is a band, right? You've got your lead singer, lead guitarist, up shredding, getting all the love from the fans. You know, the most important person in a band is the drummer, and they get zero, like little to no recognition or like none of that stardom or celebrity as like the lead singer would. And that's why it's an interesting concept for me, because like sometimes you're sitting playing drums in the back while Caragh's out, you know, lead singing and playing football for Northern Ireland, you know, and that's where it comes from. But speaking of hospitality, that's a massive common ground for you, right? So Mike, for a lot of people that don't know, is a serial entrepreneur. Actually, tell us how many businesses you've tried to start in the
Tell us
last
how many Instagram pages you have.
the last 3 years.
I was going to say
How many URLs do you own?
one just expired last week, and I was toying with keeping it or not.
So I have a problem. I have over 100 URLs, and so it means like once a month I'm getting one of them is expiring, and I'm like, dude, it's probably like a gambling addiction,
Yeah.
because I'm like,
What about-
do
am I-
pay another 20 quid to see if it works? I don't know.
Am I ever going to use this? Probably not. I'll keep it anyway. Yeah. It'd probably be easier to answer the question like how many have I tried to start in the last 3 weeks.
Yeah.
No, in the last, like, it's funny, the last 3 years. Oh no, I have. I was going to say the last 3 years I haven't really done much, but I have.
Not sober. You're working on it. You relapsed a few times.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pray for you, bro.
I think I have. I think
Oh
I've.
my goodness, you're a business addict.
Whenever.
Sounds like an Instagram page.
Yeah.
Waiting to happen.
Yeah. Whenever you said earlier about addict minds, I was like, something just clicked with me. Well, two things clicked with me. One, I was like, am I addicted to like the whole business thing? You know, where like I just work because I just get a thrill from it.
You love it,
right? But then I was like, I've always seen Caragh as like really driven. But is she addicted?
I'm so happy that you chose to air this on our podcast.
I know.
Yeah.
This is going to be great.
These are the things that go on in my mind, and then I'll just.
Here, I would
I'll
love
be
Julian
obsessed
Simmons
over
to
this.
be narrating this. And on this week's episode of Best of Belfast, Mike falls out with Caragh, and it's juicy.
What was the original question?
I want to derail this. Sorry, I'm going to step in. I want to stay on relationship stuff for most of this because I think it's going to be cool. It's where the fertile ground is. No, redeem yourself. Where you want to go?
Yeah, I was going to take it to hospitality.
Do it.
Mike's obviously an entrepreneur. We don't need to go into that right now, but they had this epic wee business out of a horse box. That was like one of our initial like things we done together. We were going to do stuff, and then you just got it made elsewhere. But yeah, so they had this epic wee 3x2. Tell me about that. That was like your first project together.
Yeah, flip. What was that? Was it? Yeah, it was before we were married.
Yeah.
Yeah. You text me one day and said,
Was this on Facebook or Bebo or
MSN Messenger?
MSN Messenger? She just sent you a nudge and a wink.
We were talking about this last week.
Oh.
No, we'd managed to move the relationship to WhatsApp. No, we were going out at this point. Like, I'd come home from Iceland and we were properly together. And I think you said something along the lines of, hypothetically, what would you do with a horse?
Hypothetically,
with a horse box if we had one, say? And
Picture him.
Yeah.
I'm going to say, I don't care. At a sight of Brad Pitt, the pikey in the movie Snatch.
Yeah.
He's outside his caravan and he's about to buy it and he's like, so hypothetically.
He's like,
he was. I think you were
Caragh, does he
standing.
like dogs?
You could have been standing at Ray's, standing in front of the horse box.
I can confirm. Whenever I asked Caragh what we would do with it,
He had bought it.
I had already bought it.
Business addict. There's the proof.
I'd agreed to buy it. So the funny thing is,
Sale agreed. So the mortgage hadn't been taken out yet.
No.
Gotcha.
I took it from the guy I supposedly bought it off and didn't give him anything for it for months. So I just I sold him the dream as well, that I will make money off this, and when I do, I will pay you for it.
I love this so much.
Mate, that's an elite salesman.
I know.
Yeah, that's like a salesman so powerful, you've just rationalised burglary.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
that's what he's done.
Straight up, change the number plate in the back of it. It's mine now.
There you go.
Yeah.
That is so
Does the
funny.
horse box have one of those wee V2NE or VO2 things?
It has a wee chassis number on the axle or something.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a chassis number or whatever, but it does. It has a wee number.
It's one of those words I've never said out loud before. I've only ever seen it in my MOT thing. I'm like,
So-
is that a chassis?
You were thinking that I got the angle grinder right, weren't you?
Well, I was curious.
Yeah, I did.
I didn't say
I
that.
ground it off. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fair play.
We live in Ards.
Anyway, I want to hear about 3x2.
Yeah, back to that.
And working together.
Yeah. So then we just started ripping the horse box apart and renovated it. I think we said at the beginning, we were like, it's going to be pizza and coffee.
Yeah.
I think when you text me that question, what would you do with the horse box? I think that's what I came back with. And you're like, solid, I agree, let's go. And then we just started the renovations. Like, if anybody doesn't know, Michael is like a phenomenal handyman, like just knows how to do everything.
Didn't know that about you.
Baffles me.
Oh, like if you ask him about any sort of DIY, he's just like, you need to do this, this, this. I'm like, how? You've never actually done this before,
Yeah.
but you know what you need to do. Like, how? You're not. There's a bit of sort of figuring it out as you go. I don't know whether you really do, and I'm just like, wow.
I know. Yeah. Again, I just sell you the dream.
That was me.
I can tell you anything.
YouTube video later.
I can tell you anything.
Yeah, so that was like my first probably real experience of like how good you are at doing that sort of thing, and we just did it all ourselves along with your papa. Pretty much, we just asked could we leave it in his yard, and we would come and work on it and
Class.
paint it and ripped it out, and yeah. got
So
it ready
I
to
also
go.
worked with my wife before getting married, and we described it as accelerated dating. Because
I like that.
Because what you experience in say 6 months of working together in close quarters,
Yeah.
it takes 5 years of dating to actually
Yeah.
get to. Give us a story, give us a moment, give us a something from that time.
I think
What did it teach you about each other? There's a better question.
that I'm the project manager.
I love Caragh. This is unbelievable.
See, so
It was
Cara's
just like that was my title, and I got that from that point probably,
Mm.
and have maintained it ever since in everything that we've stepped into.
So what does that mean? Like, you're the deadline woman. You're like, this has to happen at this time. Mike, stop starting 10 more things. We actually just need, no, it's pizza and coffee. We're not doing sushi. Put all that away.
I don't want to say like that I'm the creative mind, because you're super creative as well. But I think maybe I am more of the visionary. I don't know. And then you're just like,
I'm
this is
the
the
executioner.
practicality, yeah, of how it happens.
Awesome title.
Yeah.
Way better than project manager.
Yeah. So it's funny, I never really take photos of things, right? But Cara is a photo person, so she captures all the moments. So any moments that I did capture in the creation stage of 3x2, it was of Cara capturing the moment. There was never any of Cara like actually
Vlog everything.
actually doing the work. Yeah, but skipping ahead then to whenever the whole thing was live and we were like doing events and things, I remember one day we did. Do you remember that church day we did?
Yeah.
Where was that? Castlewellan. or
Castlewellan,
something?
yeah.
So we had an event in the morning. Was that was a CrossFit thing? Reebok.
Yes, yeah.
So we did a CrossFit event in the morning. It was just like the gym had like a coffee morning on, so we're literally just doing coffees at it. And then a mate of ours asked us to come and do like his church day out and do pizzas for them. So he was so vague whenever he was explaining to us, like, here's how many people are going to be there, here's what's happening. Told me it was in Castlewellan Country Park. I was like, okay, mate, just get permission, so we can rock up and just tell them, like, it's a private thing, like, we're not selling to the public. Mate, I don't know who we sold to that day, but literally, we came away about £1,500 up, and I was like, how on earth did that just happen? My mum and brother were with us, and we just kept sending them off to buy more stuff. Like, buy more
There's the
ingredients.
runners.
I was wondering how you
mental.
managed the stock, but that's how you did it.
It was crazy, but like the funny thing was, so my brother listened to this, right, and this kind of sounds like I'm slagging him off, right? Steve was so creative, right? So he's a visionary. He sees things with like rainbows and butterflies, right? But you see when it gets to the like nitty gritty, like you just need to shut up and work. He just has to tell a story, right? So Caragh and I were just heads down, like just slinging pizzas out. Like Steve was on the coffee, but like he was taking too
slow.
He was taking too long
With everything.
He's like trying to make a connection with every single customer and all this year. But like that day, literally, I don't think we spoke a word. It was literally, I would have made the pizzas. So then Caragh then threw them in the oven, made sure they were cooked, sliced them up, whatever. But it was literally, we were like getting an order. You know, the sheet was coming in front of me. I was just firing it out real quickly, firing it across the Caragh. She's up and like it was just flow. Like,
Yeah.
it was so good. And at the end of the day, we're like, how did that just happen? But it did, like. So
I think it's a really good quality to share. See, to have the ability just to make it happen, like and get the head down, like serves you so well, because there's times in life where like you just need that, and I don't know what it would be like to be married to someone who couldn't go to that place.
yeah.
Be tough.
Something that always baffles me used to is just sheer alignment, like pure, like the fact is both love Liverpool, right? You both
First
love
and foremost.
you both love coffee, both sports mad. Like I would consider enlightened people, both just very nice, dead on people as well. Like call it luck, call it, you know, the grand architect bringing it all together, or God, or whatever.
I love how you skirted around the word God, and then we're like, okay, yeah, God.
I want to cover all, because like a lot of people have different perspectives on
For all
that
the grand
would be.
architect religious cult listening.
Yeah.
So like, do you feel like you got lucky with each other? Well, obviously, like you have to. You can't say no on a podcast.
No, I mean, like, obviously.
Said no.
No, obviously. Here, read that back.
Pringles.
I do, like,
we're done.
all the time.
I'm gonna insert this in here because it's the right place to do it as well. I wanted to ask you guys about the one. Do you believe in the one?
Yeah, we'll have to. Like,
We'll
that was
have
our
to. It
first
was
dance
our wedding song. Yeah. Total line.
So, like, code line aside, do you believe in the one?
Wow. Somewhat I do and somewhat I don't. I mean, I feel like Caragh is the one.
Yeah.
Well, she's your one now.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
is my one.
Yeah.
But like the concept that like on a planet of how many billions of people, nearly 8, you know, like
That you couldn't have that
you can't connect with
connection.
more than one person. But yeah, I mean, I feel like Caragh is my one.
Yeah, of course she is.
So
Yeah, and you don't, like, I don't need to obviously go searching for anything else, because everything that I would have wanted, like, I've found. So,
that's so lovely, isn't it?
That is lovely. I might clip that for you guys for
Yeah.
like a
Would
wedding
you?
anniversary
Please
TikTok
do.
special.
Yeah.
Do you believe in the one? You were the one that said the words.
Yeah, I'm a soppy.
You're a one guy.
Yeah, defos. But the thing is, like, even, you know, what I picked up on there was like, users. I have spent time around yous. Like, Mike literally thinks the sun shines out of your ass. All right.
That's beautiful.
Wow.
Add,
What a way to put it.
to add perspective, right?
you and your metaphors.
But whenever you ask them about the one, he still sits back and he thinks logically, because, like, you know, for me, I'm emotional and sad. I'll be like, yes, of course, look at her. Like, I'll be like, fucking, you know, all the lights pointing. And then, but he's still like, so, but they're both so logically grounded about it as well. Like, they're both realists.
But I just think that's a question that's bigger than us.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like in the grand scheme of things, like that's a massive question. So
I don't believe in the one.
You don't?
No, definitely not.
Through just because of logic, or because of, like...
Well, like for a lot of reasons. I think a lot of marriage is making it work. So I think, like, you could marry. Is it helpful to be aligned to the person that you're marrying? 100%. It's going to make those early years especially way easier.
Yeah.
Because as you guys know, when you get married, there's a lot of knocking off the rough edges.
Yeah.
You know, and I think so that alignment is helpful for that. But I think, like, if you look throughout history, not everyone got to choose who they married.
That's true.
If like, God forbid, like, my wife passed away, I'd like to think that I would be able to find somebody else. So there's clearly not just one.
Yeah.
But I don't like the idea of the one, because I think it gives people this kind of like fairy tale where it's like, find the one and everything else will fall into place.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, I think it's more like choose a good one and then throw everything you can at it.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting. Like for me, like me and Pringle's are the only one in the room not married, so we have unique.
Hey, you don't know that about producer Ross.
Daniel, are you married?
No one's supposed to know yet. Don't tell his mum.
And they're expecting their third.
But like, so, you know, like I'm a dreamer, you know, I love like the beautiful poetic parts of life, right?
Absolutely.
And so I always looked at love in that lens or through that lens, but now I'm realizing it is so much about like how symbiotic are your lives, how aligned are you? Like there needs to be, you know, you need healthy contrast, but you need like a fundamental amount of similarities, so you're not going to hate each other, or at least you need that in like you said, in the initial stages, to know that there's kind of like a foundation there that you could build a relationship on.
So let's do this. Like you're responsible for managing a lot of people in your work, right? What's the most important thing whenever you're hiring somebody?
I don't know. That's a really broad question for me to answer. Maybe their weaknesses or strengths.
Why did you pick
as an
Michael,
organization,
for example?
like how do you determine like this is the right person, this is the right seat?
Oh yeah, it's the right head for the right seat. You know, you're looking at the role and what do you need for that role, kind of thing.
I don't think it's much different for relationships. I think you're
Really?
I think you're looking for aligned values,
Yeah.
and then I think everything else, because you can't teach values, right? That's what they always say. I think as long as you and your partner have aligned values, you're going to be able to overcome. I hit you with a wee bit of DeMello. So, you know, in awareness, he talks about how every 7 years, every single cell in your body
It's changed.
is changed. So, like on a physical level, you're not the same person that you were 7 years ago.
Blows my mind.
That's crazy. And I remember
Is that where the 7-year itch thing comes from?
possibly because it's a new person. But I remember reading a marriage book before our wedding, and the guy mentioned some sort of like Dutch philosopher. I had no idea who it is. And the quote was something like, I've slept with 20 different women during my marriage and all of them have been my wife. And the point he was making was that you always marry a stranger because 7 years from now, forget about the physical cell thing, people change. Like how long have you guys known each other?
Since 2017 we first met.
Yeah,
February
6
2017.
years.
Like that's 6 years.
Yeah.
Like what's Mike like now in comparison to what he was 6 years ago?
I'm a lot grumpier. It's nothing to do with Caragh though.
Just
I promise.
just to clear that up.
A lot more mature.
Forgot how to have fun.
That's a different word for boring, is it? I think a lot more clear in what you want to go after. Like we've obviously talked about the million different businesses, and yeah, you're still kind of trying to figure that out. But yeah, just a lot more driven, and yeah, just like all around healthier and more secure in yourself. And I think that has come from each other, and we've definitely helped each other along that journey. And I feel so much more secure in myself because of my relationship with you.
I know the word I was going to use was grounded.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
that.
for both of us. Because I know even like in the early stages, like so Caragh obviously plays football, and there's always like, you know, should we go here and play or should we go there and play? And it's like just be where you are. Like just be where you are and like enjoy it right now. And if something comes along, sweet, we'll pursue it. And if it doesn't, it's fine 'cause we're happy where we are.
Yeah.
You know, so like, yeah, and I think as well, I would have been the same where it's like the grass is always greener. But like actually, you just make the most of what you're doing in the moment. Like,
Bro, have you heard this quote? I hope you have. Well, actually, no, I hope you haven't. You ever heard that thing where it's like the grass will always be greener unless you water what's in front of you?
oh, hello.
Yeah.
Hello!
I'm in.
Hey, I just took your job there. It was a wee platitude. Sorry, man. Sorry. I need to stay in my station.
Stay in your lane, mate.
You can ask the next question as a penance. I'm sorry.
Why am I here?
Well, no, why are we all here? No, my joke.
Oh,
I think the point I was trying to make was though, like, yeah, like imagine like what Mike's going to be like in 50 years.
Yeah.
Like, mostly unrecognizable.
Yeah.
And so there has to be something about a relationship that's more than just like, oh, this person is perfect for me because of X, Y, and Z. It's like the vows you make on your wedding day. Have you ever actually thought about them?
Thought back on them?
They are crazy. They are scary.
It's like like
Mate, in sickness and in health.
We wrote our own.
We wrote our own and left that bit out.
Did you write your own?
It's the
Yeah.
modern way, bro.
Yeah. So Cara's kind of like Lewis when it comes to sickness. So here's the story. So a couple of weeks ago, I had my first trip on the Stena line. Right.
Congratulations.
I'm 20. What am I? 28.
Stanley wants to sponsor this episode.
Yeah.
Reach out.
Well, all I'm gonna say after that trip, other service providers are available.
Never mind, Stena line. You're all
So,
good.
so I had my first trip on the Stena. On the way home at 3 a.m. I was up Boken, right? I was seasick, and Lewis and I were sharing a cabin. The boy didn't even roll over. He didn't even you want to hear the noises coming
That's
out
going
of
to
me?
serve you when you have kids, mate. Honestly.
Yeah, didn't even roll over. But 2 nights after we got married as well. Oh yeah, 2 nights after we got married, it was kind of like we had a few days between wedding and honeymoon. We'd gone out for dinner because obviously everybody gives you like money and vouchers and all this sort of things. We had a voucher, went out for dinner, and I got food poisoning. Right,
Not name the place.
literally, yeah, literally.
We'll have him back.
As soon as my head hit the pillow, I was like, I'm gonna be sick. Got up, sprinted to the bathroom. I was in the bathroom for 45 minutes, and the whole time, Cara stayed in her bed. Didn't come to hold my hair back or anything like. What are you laughing at?
That's what we joke for the YouTube watchers.
Yeah,
The audio listeners. Apologies.
yeah, yeah. So there's the sickness and health thing. That's why we removed it. 'Cause
Yeah,
we
'cause
knew it was
usually would bail
unachievable.
as soon as the sickness
Yeah,
would come.
it just wasn't. Yeah,
Yeah, I get that. Well, look, at least
I think my
you guys are honest.
lack of sympathy is a big problem. Like
no, it's not a problem.
maybe I just think
Let's
it's
talk-
a problem.
let's
I
talk
wish
about
I was
Yeah.
could be more sympathetic.
Because like we're talking so much about how it's all great, but what are the contrasts? Like
Well,
where is
this therapy or is this?
Oh, this is therapy.
It's therapy for us.
Yeah.
This is for the record. This is the most self-serving podcast I've ever done because I'm like asking 21 questions that I'd be asking you
And you're
in
even
a private
taking notes as
conversation.
well.
Damn right, I'm
Taking
taking notes.
If 50
I've had
Cent
no luck.
wants
Yeah.
to sponsor this podcast with the song 21 Questions.
This podcast isn't even
Well,
going
welcome.
live.
He forgot to hit record.
Imagine.
But yeah, friction points. Talk to me.
I have a thing called misophonia.
I wanted to bring this up. This is good.
I think.
you know what it is?
I think
So
this is made up.
That sounds like a potential point of tension, but we'll slide past that. The definition I saw, and I did see 3, the one I preferred the most was someone who gets emotionally affected by everyday noises.
Yeah.
Now,
I didn't know this.
Talk to me about the emotional aspect to that. Like, are you angry?
Anger.
Are you angry? Okay, yep.
Pure anger. Like
No way.
like clenched fists to the point where it's like I'm about to scream. I'm not angry. I know.
I'm going to make a solemn pledge to you, okay? If you tell us the noises that trigger you, I promise you we won't make them.
Okay.
What are the noises that trigger you?
Mike breathing.
Somebody breathes.
Did you know that we live in separate houses?
I just assumed it was like, an upper class thing, separate bedrooms, that sort of vibe.
Yeah.
No.
Carol's over.
Did you
I
miss
hear
the
you
point where
breathe.
we said we
One
live in
more
hearts?
time.
Noisy eating.
Okay.
Oh well, that's
Which everybody can
Roscoe, you put those Pringles down.
That's why I
Step
told him.
away from
That's
the
why I thought it
Pringles.
was nothing to do with me. I just knew Cara would be over there.
But it probably won't have the same like emotional reaction for most people where they're like clenching their fists and like ready to scream. You're just like, could you not do that? That's a bit annoying.
So, okay, like we're in a restaurant, we're in Tribal Burger, and I order 15 buffalo wings.
Oh no.
And
Don't say.
I'm properly slurping them. On a scale of 0 to 100, where do you go?
Like ready to flip the tables. Yeah.
Like,
that angry.
like on a number. Like, give me a number.
Between 1 and 100?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like 90s.
Seriously? So, like, is there another example in your life of a 90 that you can share? I don't want any. This is not Jeremy Kyle, okay? So give me something you can share.
I don't know if there's anything that tops the eating. Like, even sneezing will get me.
Right, so here's
Oh, brother.
here's the thing.
It's like a try not to laugh. This podcast turned into try not to sneeze.
I have
Hay fever.
I do. But worse.
Oh, Lord.
Worse than that, right?
Right?
I'm just a sensitive person, right?
Okay.
So you wear aftershave.
I don't, but
No, but
I'll
if
play
you-
along.
if you wore
for
after-
You wore that
purposes of this
red diesel.
podcast, yeah.
If you wore aftershave and walk past me,
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, it'll make me sneeze.
Right?
Right? Perfume makes me sneeze.
Yeah.
Like, one of the biggest sacrifices I made recently for Caragh was buying her really nice perfume that she liked, right?
I'll forget you.
Even though I know as soon as she puts that on,
It's not good for
it's
either of
not.
us.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
What type of a sick husband are you?
I know.
You're like, it's a Friday night. You know what we should do? Have a scale 90 argument.
So
Let me get the Paco Rabanne out here.
if I sneeze once, I sneeze 11 times.
You can't just do one.
I can't.
Sneeze.
It's like Pringles.
Oh, so
Yeah.
So sneezing, like over-exaggerated coughing, whenever people just are going over the top with it. I'm trying
That
to
also
think
kind of
of other
ties
ones.
into your lack of sympathy for sick people. You're like, would you cut that out?
I would
We
say
all know you're faking.
I would say that's like bled into like part of who you are because you're like minus sympathetic.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you could be lying there with a broken wrist and you'd be like, all right, mate.
But see, the worst part about it is whenever I sneeze, it's not a problem.
So I
Oh,
was going to
yeah.
ask you if you hear yourself make that noise,
Now, if I hear myself eating noisily,
you're like, catch a grip.
I'm like, get a grip, Cara. Literally.
And just like,
She's like
No,
throwing
it's
her
fine.
plate across the room and all.
I had this
What
conversation
happened?
with my
Sneeze.
brother because he's my brother's the exact same.
Oh, my
We
goodness.
both have this thing.
Serious?
Yeah.
And is it so like, Mayo what?
Misophonia.
Sorry, I was like nowhere near. Misophonia. And is this like, do you know, is it genetic? Is it biological? Did you have parents that were like, if I hear you sneeze one more time, you're going to sit on the naughty step for 3 hours?
or did
No,
you just
but my
make
dad
this
was
up?
a really noisy eater.
Right?
So I think that irritated us all. But I mean, my mum wasn't like getting to the point of extreme anger the same way that we were. There's a girl in,
Your mum's very
I
understanding.
hope she doesn't listen to this, but like there's a girl in my work even that like has this real exaggerated laugh.
I'm going to send it to her.
And she's like laughing away on the phone like, okay, bye. Right? And I'm like, stop it.
Nothing's funny.
Wow. So first
No,
year,
it's such a problem.
first year of marriage, is it everything people say it is? Is it the worst year of your life? Is it unbelievably hard? Are you at each other's throats?
First year was COVID pretty much.
First year was class.
Yeah. Yeah.
We were kind of like, some people would probably think it really difficult, but like literally we got married and 4 months later we're like thrust into lockdown. So like pretty much what, I don't know, 6 or 9 months, however long that thing went on for. Like it was just the two of us.
Yeah.
But it was class.
But like we just found projects to do. Like built the shed and worked on the garden and whatever else we
Yeah.
decided to do in that point.
Yeah.
And no, it was great. We loved it.
These are just best mates.
We are.
Yeah, we are.
best mates.
That's so funny. Mike,
Do you think I could take the rest of the afternoon off so I could just hang out with her?
mate, if I gave you that, you take me up on that every day. So I learned a fun factoid about Mike recently.
Right?
I never realised how much this man loves darts. So I can't mind what we were talking. This is only like 3 or 4 weeks ago, but this is like a lifelong thing, right? And he's like, "Oh, well, do you watch the darts or I can't mind it?" And I was like,
Would have been
No.
around the time of the World Championships.
Well, whenever that was.
Yeah.
For, you
Christmas
know,
time.
I'm normal. Nobody, like, I don't know when darts is going on. Neither does anybody
You've
else.
just offended my whole audience.
No, this guy.
They're all professional dart players. I have,
will-
I have 12 listeners,
But
and that's
You
all
will
of
not
them.
be back.
Do you know when you learn something about, like, one of your pals? Like, I've known Mike a right bit of time now, or a right bit of time now, and, like, it was just something that in my head did not up, you know, based on how I perceived him and how I'd come to know him, and this new passion of darts, or was not even a new passion.
It's been a while. It's been a while.
Yeah, but I can't believe the level at which you love it. Because you know, there's a dartboard in the gym, and we done a few sessions, done a few shows in it, like. But I was like, oh, surely that's just a bit of fun. But no,
Every day.
he goes, I'm driving down to Armagh at the weekend. For context, Mike's a Newton Artsman, so that's a right I'll drive. And I was like, oh, what are you doing? Getting darts.
Getting darts.
Getting darts.
Yeah, I was going to buy new darts. Get them in Armagh. Shout out the darts.
You can't
City.
do that stuff online. You've got to.
You gotta feel the. You gotta feel the dart.
Wow.
Yeah,
I might get you back for a niche dart episode.
mate. I would love to.
You would love that.
And you know who I'd bring on?
Who's that?
Car's brother.
Really?
The two of us. Our goal, or one of our goals in life, probably more so for him, is that we would love to be pro darts players. Okay, what's coming next?
Who is like the dart player in Northern Ireland that's alive?
Josh Rock.
Right. If I get Josh Rock on the podcast, will you interview him with me?
Mate, honestly, like,
Okay.
I've heard him on a podcast before.
Careful what your next words are.
Because you're about to ruin the show.
Because we're about to. We're trying to get this guy on the show.
I was just gonna say he's class.
Yeah.
But what I was gonna say was,
Josh.
I think in that case, I might just like literally sit and stare at him.
Right. Everyone needs a bit of eyeball affirmation.
Don't
Yeah.
meet your idols, Mike.
Don't meet your idols. I know.
Don't meet your heroes.
No, I think Josh and I would hit it off.
Really?
Yeah.
The more important question, I think, in the middle of all this is, why did you keep this from Louis for so long? You guys have been close. The darts is clearly important to you.
So
Why
It's
would
only
you
become-
hold that a secret?
An obsession recently.
yeah, but so darts. I think darts has only really become cool, probably in the last year or 18 months.
And you kind of thought it was. You just didn't get it initially.
I didn't get it initially. So Cara's family introduced me to darts.
So we watch it every Christmas together.
This blew my mind.
How niche is that?
So yeah,
We'll watch
my mind.
any.
niche, isn't
We'll
it?
watch any sport going. We'll watch anything, right?
I love that. You're like so pent up. There's nothing on. What are we going on? Is that darts? Yes, get it on.
Literally, me, my brother, and my dad will watch anything, and my mum to an extent as
Yeah.
well. Yeah, she's always she probably just had no choice, but she's big into her sports as well. So like tennis and athletics is kind of their mum's two sports, and that's where I would bond with her the most, and then dad and Adam. It's like football, darts, kind of everything else really. So we would have watched it every year, and then I think the first year you spent Christmas with us and we were watching it, you were like, I can't believe you do this.
yeah. What the
You went
hell
back to
is
your
this
family.
about?
You were like, "You'll never guess what the Milligans do around Christmas."
You believed in the one just then, didn't you?
Yeah, I was like, I thought she was the one, but after that, I
Is
see-
darts not a trigger for you though?
With the noise of the dart hitting the dartboard.
So like darts, I've never seen darts, so I'm just making this up. I imagine darts is a little bit like chess, and what I mean by that is there's moments of extreme silence, and in that silence, you're going to hear a lot of people coughing.
No, there's no silence in darts.
No.
Like
No silence.
no
in
silence in darts.
It's-
Maybe if you're
it's a
playing,
it's a big. You go. It's a day out on the.
What
drink,
sort of
like.
music plays in the background?
oh,
Like,
it's
a big-
mostly
Is it like
levels?
DJ Cammy?
well, it can be, but it's mostly like as the darts are taking place, it's mostly like chanting.
It's like a night out.
Is it really?
I swear, this is why whenever Mike told me everything I know about darts and everything I know about Mike does not add up. It doesn't compute. Like it shouldn't work.
If Mike was a song, what would Mike be?
If Mike was a song, oh, I could go a lot of different ways with this.
L'amour toujours.
L'amour toujours. No, Mike's more like an indie rock, like the Cooks or like you know,
I'll take that.
Razorlight. That's Mike in a
Oh,
song.
Razorlight.
Mike would be like Only in America
Have you decided your darts walk-on song?
Yeah.
You've got to have an entrance.
Great
song.
question.
That is
that's
good.
What it was.
Le Mort
What?
du Jour.
Yeah, Le Mort du Jour.
And your darts name?
Jim Neal
Pretty long
love
name.
that. Jim Neal loves that song.
Because I just think, like, when I make it, I can just hear people chanting, Mike Hamilton.
It's been thought of.
Wow.
Oh,
I've designed my own shirt and all. Like,
no, you haven't. Have you
Do
actually?
you have a dart name? What's the correct dart? This language has tripped me up. Even when you say when darts are taking place, I'm like, my Grammarly in my head's been like, there's no way that's what it is. But it clearly is.
You call him Mike the Hammerhead.
Is it a dartist?
Hamilton.
like a dartist. It's just a darts player, mate.
Darts player, right?
Yeah.
No, do you not have it's like a bucket, like a ring name?
I would. Yeah, everybody has a.
What's yours?
Right.
I haven't got there
Mike.
yet.
I don't
Tell
believe
the
that.
truth and shame
I
the
don't believe
devil.
that if you've made your. I don't believe that if you've made your shirt.
when you said no, so I've come up with our team name.
Which
See,
is-
there it is.
Yeah.
Right,
So
do you have it on Instagram?
no.
Oh, boy.
So I'm not going to tell you what
quick,
it is.
Do you want to make a quick 20 quid?
I'm
you
not
buy
going to
the
tell you what it
URL.
is. So basically, Caragh's brother is going to Manchester to do a masters in September. No, but the first thing he told me about the uni was they have a darts team. That was like the first thing for him. Like, he plays rugby at a pretty high level, and the first thing he checked was, do they have a darts team?
So Mike's enrolled in a part-time uni degree
Yeah,
just
so-
to play on the
so
darts team.
I'm away in September, lads.
Here, Cara, see the spread winning thing?
Yeah.
Not for me.
How about it? Yeah. So the team name is Maverick.
I like that.
Yeah. And it's just based off definition, you know, it's a bit like, it's kind of out there, it's a bit
Edgy.
edgy,
We're a
yeah.
darts team, but we're an edgy darts
Yeah, we're an edgy darts team.
We're
yeah.
not like other darts teams.
No, we don't like drink beer and get fat and all that, like, yeah.
No,
we're a bit-
we provide for our families
we're a bit-
and our respectable husbands.
Yeah.
But we're also mavericks.
Yeah, we're a bit more maverick, yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
How did you end up in Iceland? And we're leaving the relationship segment. Are you happy or is
Oh,
there...
mate, so happy. I'm exhausted.
Okay. Yeah.
Good.
Nice.
Like, I've never sweat so much, like, we are not. Like, you kind of made us out to be like,
Well, here's the
Yeah,
number
we've
one
got it all
relationship expert
together.
in the whole island of Ireland.
I know, yeah.
Mike and Karen Nesbitt.
I definitely think I definitely think it's right to move on because it'll add so much context, you know, with like especially
goodness
talking about
gracious.
seas football and stuff.
So Iceland,
Yeah.
how does
Football.
one get there?
Football took me there. Yeah, I was in final year of uni, and I was actually in a CrossFit gym at the time, sitting on an assault bike. Phone rings, and this team from Iceland had got in contact with me.
The whole team.
The whole team.
Yeah.
We're on loudspeaker in the changing room.
Oh, Caragh!
And they said, we've been given your contact details and we want to sign someone in the upcoming window. There's like 4 days left in the transfer window. Do you want to come? Pretty much. And my uni year had kind of just ended. Classes had just finished. I had a couple of exams to sit, but the semester was finished. And I was like, yeah, great time to go. Only downside was that I'd met Michael in the February. And
That was the downside.
Bummer, dude.
and we were at that point of like, oh, like
Make or
how,
break.
yeah, like
Will
how
we, won't
serious
we?
is this?
I hate that.
And I was like, surely you won't be too gutted if I clear off here for a couple of months, because the season just runs through the summer, and then I needed to come back. No, sorry, I must have been in my penultimate year of uni. And I'll come back in the October and finish my final year at Queen's. So, yeah, went there and played there from like May until October. I came back.
Awesome.
Yeah, so it was class.
Would you like to do a new segment on the show?
Which is?
We do this with all of our guests, so it's not that new. It's called 3 pop quiz questions about Iceland.
Okay, yeah.
We're just going to make it up right now. Okay.
It's no. It's our most popular.
Yeah, mate. We've asked everyone these
Heavily-
questions. We've asked
Oh.
Mason these questions.
Foyvan smashed this second. He was like, Iceland. I've been there before.
Do you want to read the first question?
Yeah. Let me just get my paper. Just getting the questions here ready.
Here, I'll do the first one for you.
Yeah, you go the first one.
Yeah. I know
Your
you didn't wear
question's
your
far
glasses,
better.
right?
Yeah.
What is the capital of Iceland?
Reykjavik.
Nice. Ding, ding, ding. Number 2, what type... Sorry, I stole your thunder. Go ahead.
What is the second most visited tourist destination in Iceland?
Oh.
CrossFit Reykjavik.
Oh, she's on
I
it.
actually think it's number 1.
I think it might
You're
be number
telling me
one
it
now.
beats the Blue Lagoon?
Yeah, so like that's
Is that a thing?
yeah, 100%.
Yo,
You
yeah.
can see why this segment is so
either-
popular amongst our listeners.
Exactly, it's either first or see how well informed
Mind
we are.
blown.
It's either first or second most visited tourist attraction in the whole of Iceland.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Number 3, what type of unusual hot dog do they eat in Iceland?
Pass.
It's not a Frankfurt or a Butterwurst.
Oh, good pronunciation on the Burverse. You clearly knew someone from South Africa.
do.
Wow. I believe it's lamb. They eat all these lamb hot dogs.
Well, yeah, there are a lot of
Bonkers.
lambs.
So 2 out of 3 cars not into the final, is she?
No,
No.
no. It's not a knockout. You just keep going.
Oh, so it changed. Oh,
Do
sorry.
you have one more? While I do the final question.
Spot the competitive one here.
No.
Here, I would have got that question right.
What?
Ask me 3 questions about Iceland.
Kicking her out of her own
What is
segment.
what is the national sport of Iceland?
Handball.
Wow.
Well,
Final question
She's so
from us,
confident.
Cara. What was the name of the volcano that erupted that stopped all those planes with the ash cloud? And extra point if you can pronounce it. Oh my word, she's got it. She's going to do it.
Eyjafjallajökull.
Oh, she actually did it! Cara, you're the first and only winner of this segment. As a result, I found this beside me. It's a small bottle of Joe Box.
Yeah.
let's go.
Oh,
That's phenomenal.
Crazy.
I
Drink it
didn't
now.
think whenever we pulled this team together, I did not think we would complete the Icelandic quiz.
Oh, you're the first guest ever out of
guest
300
has
people to do
ever
it.
Phenomenal.
ever passed it.
That is incredible.
True story. I thought you were going to ask her what was the make and model of the car she crashed in Iceland.
Oh, and with that,
So this is great because my next question
Probably
is,
couldn't answer that.
how did you crash that car?
And whose car was it?
no, add some context
Right.
because I haven't heard this story.
So I lived with.
By the way, I loved that whole thing there more than I should have.
What?
That wee segment, I just put that over us.
So I lived with one of the board members of the club that I was playing for. So she had this huge house. She was actually she was divorced from an ex-Premier League football player. So they had stacks of money.
It was just the fact that you were like, she was married. No, actually, she was divorced.
They were like,
Well.
it was so awkward. They were still kind of going through the divorce and stuff whenever I was living there, and it was all very bizarre.
Just sitting there eating her dinner.
I get up for breakfast in the morning being like, oh, sorry.
Shut up.
Back downstairs.
You
And
left that line.
what's worse is the husband chewed his food out.
Sorry, actually, there's no more lamb hot dogs left. Can someone get me some?
So I was living with her, and so she had a spare car, and she said to me, you can just take that and just run about in it all over Iceland, so you can go on weekend trips and, do whatever you want to do and be completely independent. So it was great. So one day, I think I'd got up early in the morning to go to a CrossFit class, and I was reversing out of the car park, and it was an automatic, so I'd never driven an automatic before, and I was driving on the other side of the road, had no insurance, sure, what could go wrong? So I was still kind of getting used to the car, and I just I put it into reverse and completely floored it and reversed right back into this car that was parked behind me. Big massive bang, and I got out of the car, quick check of their car, and was like, oh, theirs looks fine. Looked at mine, quick scan. It's grand. How have I not wrecked this car? This is amazing. So quickly jumped in, was like, somebody's going to have heard that. Drove back to the house, and whenever I got out at the house and then re-inspected the car, it was wrecked. The whole like bottom right side of the bumper was just completely smashed in and like hanging down. And it was like that bit in Wolf of Wall Street, you know, where he thinks the car's fine, and then whenever he's like sobered up, he's like, oh no. So then I was like, what do I do? What do I say to the woman's name was Ragna, who owned the car. I was like, what am I going to do when she comes
Ragna,
home
if you're
from
listening.
work later? So I was also living with another girl who had been drafted in to play from the team. She was Canadian, and she came to me like a couple of hours later. The car was just parked outside of the house, and she was like, I'm going to go downtown for a little bit to meet someone. I was like, cool, you taking the car? Yeah, I'm taking the car. Okay, I was like, sweet, grand. So she drove off in the car downtown.
No, you didn't.
She didn't say anything to me.
Did she really?
And then whenever she'd come back from her coffee date or whatever, she then sends me a message, a picture of the back of the car, and was like, Cara, you'll never guess what happened. Whenever I was downtown, somebody crashed into our car and has wrecked it. And I replied and was like, oh no, that's awful.
I think you need to deduct a point from the Iceland quiz.
Oh my days.
So then we just continued this narrative. So then whenever we did have to tell Ragnar, we were like, some person drove into us downtown and they didn't even leave a note on the car to say that they'd done it, and we don't know who did it.
You know what Icelanders are like? Terrible.
That is so
Terrible.
funny. And like for context, like this is very out of your like this is not your nature. Like normally, like you're very
Is it not?
Well, I don't know. Like that's not how I would know. See, like
I just hate being like told off or shouted at or doing something wrong. Like I was such a wee suck up whenever I was in primary school and whatever. Like I hated being told off. So that's probably where that's come from.
That's unbelievable.
I didn't want to be.
Where'd you live?
Just outside of Reykjavik.
Nice. I stayed in a wee place called Selfoss.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like I don't know what it is. It's like the Icelandic equivalent of like Anna Hilt, probably.
It's kind of in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. But that's most of the country.
Yeah.
So like 2/3 of the population live in the capital, and then it's just like whoosh.
Yeah. Then you just drive for hours and see like 2 houses.
Did you do the whole ring road?
Not the entire thing. Like we tried to sightsee as much as possible. So like did most of the waterfalls.
Cool.
Did the Blue Lagoon a couple of times because I knew someone who was working there. Luckily, so I got him for free every time. And then that team that I was playing for, we actually got relegated that season, but then was offered to go back for the next year. But it was a team that was based on an island just off of the mainland, and only like a couple of hundred people lived there. We had gone there to play against that team the previous season, and you had to just get a boat across, and or else you could fly on one of those little propeller planes. So the year before, we'd gone across, and the team went over and back in the same day, but I wanted to stay and like explore the island a little bit, so I said I'll do one more night and then I'll come back afterwards. The biggest bloody storm ever hit the island, and I was stranded on it.
for how long?
So for like 3 or 4 days.
Oh my days.
Yikes.
Yeah, and couldn't get back because there were no crossings. The boat wouldn't sail. So then I had to fork out like hundreds of pounds to get back to the mainland via plane, which still probably wasn't safe to fly. But I was like, get me off this island. And then I still considered playing for that team the next season because they invited me over for a trial and they wanted to sign me. And I signed the contract to say that I would play, and then changed my mind like a couple of weeks later. And then they were like, you owe us money because you signed a contract. But I just ignored them, and eventually they went away.
I'm loving this. This is like a whole. I feel like I'm like getting to know my friends so much better now.
This is what Piers Morgan feels like.
The funny thing is, like, the Icelandic bailiffs just won't come to Arts. So they're not getting that money back. Like.
And it was kind of in that period, like there was a load of things going on. Like I'd met Michael, and we had started seeing each other again whenever I got home, and was like, I don't know if I could do that distance again. Then I'd really started getting into CrossFit. And so it was like, oh, I don't know if I want to pursue football now, and had started to go down that path a little bit too. So I didn't go back to Iceland.
What you don't know is that Mike went over to Iceland for you.
I paid the debt.
The Equalizer went over.
The Equalizer. Yeah.
It's just Ragnar coming home, Cara, do you know what's wrong with the car?
10 out of 10 on the Icelandic accent.
What are you talking about? What? I haven't driven the car since I got here. Like, I just love that.
Mad.
Yeah.
Can you ask a sports question? Because I feel really underqualified to ask it.
Yeah, I always like talking to Cara about sports just because Mike's just not as good as Cara at
Well,
sports.
he plays darts.
Yeah, well,
Did you not hear that segment?
Don't forget the five
he's an
aside Monday
athlete.
night.
Is darts a sport?
Is chess a sport?
It's a game. They're games.
Yeah, big games.
Darts is a game, not a sport.
Is football a game?
I mean,
Some people call it a beautiful game.
We'd consider darts a game, but it is considered a sport.
Yeah, so anyway,
All sports a game, really, if you think about it.
fun fact about Northern Ireland, Cara, and Northern Irish football.
Right.
She's the youngest capped senior footballer in history.
Yeah, male or female.
In history.
Yeah, you're fulfilling your role here.
And is there not something that, now that the rules have changed, you'll hold on to that record forever?
Yeah, I think
You're
there's
like
a
Mary
minimum
Peters.
age now. Yeah.
You're unbeatable.
She was like 11 playing for the senior ladies or something.
Yeah, I think the minimum age is 16 to play for the seniors now, and I was 15 on 121 days.
So crazy.
Don't forget the 121 days.
I'll never.
Yeah,
Sir.
it's important.
So like a massive part of your life is sports, right? And when I was first introduced to you, you were a CrossFitter, and you're a damn good one at that. And like I remember actually having a really good. Me and Mike both had a conversation with you about this, and they said I remember it. And there was this, significant pivot over to football. Then you went into football, done your knee in, had to do this monster rehab. So like you're at the other end of that now. What does the next few years of sports look like for you as a very talented sports person?
At the minute, I'm saying that yes, I'm giving my all to football. At the minute, that looks like playing for Glentoran here and hopefully representing Northern Ireland. We've just come off the back of like a mega successful sort of 2 years in making it to the Euros and setting ourselves up on a huge platform now. And we have, we've set our goals pretty high to make it back to a major tournament. So there's going to be a lot of change and transition to try and make that happen again. And it's going to be damn hard because a lot of things went our way, I suppose, to make that happen in the first place. But once you get a taste for that, you want to make it back there. And for some of us, like we weren't fortunate to play. Like for myself, I suffered an injury about 6 weeks prior to the Euros starting. So yeah, Northern Ireland were there. I was there in a different capacity from a punditry point of view, but I never actually got to set foot on the pitch playing in a major tournament. So
park the bus right there, the metaphorical bus. It stopped. What was going through your head like 6 weeks pre-Euros? Like you're a capable player, you're probably on the starting 11 most, if not all the time. What's going through your head now that you've just made this massive pivot? You've went into the sport that you love. You've got injured 6 weeks out from the biggest competition of your life. Like, how do you traverse that?
I think at the time it was nearly like a numbness. It really didn't like properly sink in, and I think part of me was just like, this is so typical. And I just was like, of course this happened to me. I think I just like felt sorry for myself for a bit and was like, oh, this is so typical. Like I'm always like, I've been injury prone. I've had injuries throughout my career, like pretty significant ones that have kept me out for a long period of time. And I was like, oh, I've been here before. I've dealt with it and I'll just deal with it again. So maybe part of me just like ignored the kind of emotional side and I didn't really open up to how I was really feeling and kind of just tried to close that off and be like, yep, just get the head down, just rehab again, just do it all again. It's just the same as any other injury that you've kind of had.
Does it still sit with you now?
I think because I had such a positive experience and for what that then allowed me to do, getting into punditry and everything, part of me is like, I'm okay that happened. Yeah.
Isn't it so crazy? Like I know it's the whole cliche of saying of one door closes but another door opens. I was sitting watching TV, I remember it clear as day, and Caragh was on TV.
Love that.
And I text, I don't know if I text who I text. I was like, what the F?
Yeah.
What? Because I didn't know. Like, she's just a quiet operator. She just go about her business and not do too much screaming and shouting, whereas I'm very different. So, like, that took me by such a surprise. But the first time I seen you doing punditry, I was like, this feels right.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Did you have that same feeling?
Yeah, I think I did. I think I was quietly confident that I could do a pretty good job at it. Like through school and stuff, I think I was always someone who was like happy to step up and like read something, or if something needed, whenever you got into those little groups and you were like, right, you have to nominate someone to come and deliver the presentation or the thing.
I don't want to get you out of that.
I was always happy to put myself forward for stuff like that, and was confident enough in myself to kind of, just step forward. And I think if you've done the research, you've done the work, and you're knowledgeable enough, then I think I was confident enough that I could deliver that.
I'd say it was another way for you to express that passion that ultimately does define you. And what I mean by that is like, why you weren't playing.
Is that like the virus slogan?
No,
or
it literally is. But it's so I'm embodying it, and then it came back in my head. So like, but like you still probably got that opportunity to express yourself through the sport. It just might not have been in the way that you thought you would be. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, definitely.
And do you reckon like punditry then going forward is going to be something you're going to
I hope
keep
so,
on the
because
cards?
coaching has never been the route that I would have wanted to take.
But why is that?
We know.
They're all
Some player
cheers.
sneezes.
They all She's like, I'm done.
An under 14-year-old player has had her nose broken on a football pitch.
Just pass it to her feet.
I'd say it's something that I could do. Like you could go and get your coaching badges, and I could have a half good go at it, I suppose, but it doesn't drive me. It doesn't, I'm not passionate about it. And I know plenty of people who get into coaching probably for the wrong reasons and end up absolutely hating it. And
That's a really good point. Yeah.
it's just not for me. So, yeah, that's definitely like that media side is where I would see myself going.
Yeah. It's nothing against teachers, but I think a lot of people, like, there aren't necessarily defined career paths for people once they leave certain professions. Mm-hmm. So I think, like, for athletes, it's like, what do you do after the sport?
And people think good athletes make good coaches.
Definitely not true.
Not true at all.
You know that in the business world.
Yeah.
Like, a good entrepreneur is not necessarily a good manager and vice versa.
Definitely not.
Even from a CrossFit point of view, like I coach CrossFit, I actually do enjoy doing that side of it. Obviously not as much as competing, but I look at other coaches within the gym, even that I coach in, and they're not at the level of athlete that I am. So then people maybe would look to me and think that they would listen to what I have to say maybe over someone else because I can like walk the walk as such, and because I can, I've competed and all that kind of thing.
Absolutely.
I've got the authority, and people just kind of put me maybe on a pedestal a little bit, but like there are far better coaches who are not as good a CrossFitter maybe as I am.
Yeah.
I think that's a really, really valuable soundbite, especially in the sport that we're in. That I'm predominantly in of CrossFit. It's like good athletes don't make good coaches, and like there's actual good examples of that happening right now, where like there are incredible athletes coaching, and with all due respect, it's a bit balls, but they can leverage their name and they can leverage that a lot easier. Like you say.
I looked at you, like I looked at Michael as a coach,
for
and
sure. Yeah.
the way that you just can relate to people and get on their level, and those are the skills, it's those softer skills that you need, those communication skills, and they're all the things that I would love to emulate, but can't.
Good facilitator.
And then
Or Mike.
So we can wrap that up, but with Mike, what's the future for you?
Well,
Like,
I'm just keeping the beat.
no, for real.
In what context? Like,
I mean, probably just like, what does the next 3 years look like for you in general? And I don't need to even lay that out anymore, because you can answer that from a lot of perspectives.
Okay, on a personal level, I think just committing to bettering myself from a physical kind of point of view. So I kind of go through phases of like enjoying exercise and training and all that sort of thing. But I feel like I'm in a great place now, physically and mentally, which is massive for me. That kind of allows me to just be the best exerciser or trainer that I can be, which I love because I don't feel like I compare myself to anyone else. Whereas in the past I always have. So physically I want to be the best version in terms of like fitness and health. Cold showers, I want to do that, Matt. We were talking about that this morning. Cara's like clenching her teeth and all here, doesn't get it. So that, like making a conscious effort to better myself.
You ever been to Blue Lock?
No.
You should go. You'd really enjoy it.
What's that?
It's a little tiny lake up the Mourns. It's very, very cold.
Is it deep?
It's deep enough to swim.
Ooh.
Oh, I'd probably avoid that.
Oh, yeah. I don't think you would like it then. I was only joking.
Yeah, okay. No, I could dip and dunk and stuff.
But you're not a swimmer,
Not a
where
swimmer.
you can't feel the bottom.
Nah, not for me.
You could stay in the shallow end.
Yeah,
I think
fine.
you'd enjoy it.
Yeah,
We should do it.
okay.
All of us.
So that's the personal thing from I suppose from like a working and kind of business point of view. I'm just enjoying where I'm at right now, and I think I just want to kind of like suck up as much as I can and learn as much as I can, because at some point I'm gonna want to do my own thing again. So yeah, I just kind of consider myself to be in like a real learning phase at the minute. And like there's points where like I'm working with people, I'm like, oh, you should do this a different way, but I'm just being humble and following their lead, and I'm happy to do that. So that's kind of a nice place to be. Yeah, I'm kind of working on little projects as well, just to kind of keep myself busy and occupied. So that's kind of fun too.
Got to be the addict.
Yeah,
Got to.
exactly. So yeah, I'm currently just doing a few wee bits around the house, because at some point we'll probably stick it on the market, and yeah, we'd like to move and stuff. So yeah, as long as I'm tinkering, I'm happy.
That's a good way to put it.
It's a good slogan.
Yeah, it is. And you
Yeah.
know, it's a far cry from what you've been used to for the last, say 5 or 6 years, with having so many projects.
Yeah.
And always switching your focus. But now, you've got one role, in your current work, and then you've got all these other projects. And I'd say that's probably nice for you.
Yeah, well, it is quite nice, because I'm not like, I think in the past when I've been like my own boss and stuff, I've been just like really busy and always going and always moving. But like at the minute, I'm just enjoying a slower pace and
Great, mate.
just taking it all in. Like,
It's nice to enjoy a bit of financial stability as well, because like
Big time.
everybody will know who's ever tried to start something up or run their own business that
grim.
it's
very
grim.
grim.
Be
It's
tough,
really
yeah.
really tough.
Well,
Take us home. Do it.
yeah, so kind of a bit of normality we have on the show. One consistent thing is we ask every guest so Matt's really good at kind of setting this up, whereas I am not.
you've butchered it already.
Oh, I've butchered it.
Okay.
So
I think
Like-
you're doing a good job.
Like the barber last week.
Did you
So-
cut somebody's hair?
I'll go full Matt here, right? Can we
Avoids the question.
stop talking about my really, really bad haircut?
Yo, producer Pringles, can you cut that?
Do not zoom in on the fade, bro. No, I'm only joking.
Did you
But-
cut your own hair right now?
No, but it looks like I did.
He actually paid for it.
Because I was going to say, if that's a self job, that's a good job.
Here, well, listen, I did pay money for this, but I'm not happy. That's all we'll say.
Would you like to name and shame the barber live on
No,
air?
not at all.
You're a man of integrity. I like that.
Because Portdown's a small place, and I will tell you. And
Yeah, and you don't want to mess with some
You've
of those.
already said
Yeah,
too
I
much.
know.
You've already
You've
said
already
too
said
much.
too much.
As it could be.
Yeah.
Here, and I bet you they don't pay tax.
Oh,
I bet you paid them cash.
there is no actually paid via booking up.
Well, then you know exactly who it is.
Yes,
Order them.
exactly. Yes. Yeah.
Anyway.
I just doxed him. pretty
He's
much.
just been kicked out
Guys,
of his house.
They're hijacking my show here. But no, one thing Matt says
Land
and
the
asks to everybody that comes on is, if you could take 3 minutes, Mike, with yourself, your 18-year-old self, and you had 3 minutes to sit on a park bench, and you had nowhere to be, nowhere to go, and you had an opportunity to bestow onto him some worldly wisdom that you now know, what would that be?
Oh, wow. I'd probably tell him, me, what, third person?
It's he/they, I
Okay.
suppose, yeah.
What
I
pronouns
would
are we
tell-
using?
I would tell him.
Whoa.
Whoa, just make sure.
Whoa, I can't believe. We're going to get cancelled after that. Oh my goodness.
Sheesh, I don't know whether to take it seriously or not.
No, do.
I would tell myself not to take things too seriously.
Yeah.
I'd tell myself to just try and be in the here and now and not always look to the next thing. Yeah, life can be hard enough sometimes. So kind of the more present you are, I think the better you can kind of handle things. But then also on that is kind of having like a wide angle perspective of things, that like, yes, okay, like this moment right here might be tough, but when you zoom out, it's just a moment. Like, that's all it is. Things change, things improve. So just don't get caught up in the tough stuff. But then also, like, I could just keep going here.
Yeah.
Like, see, I think one of my things as well is like not celebrating the wins.
Oh, yeah.
So, and that kind of comes back to what we were saying way back. Like, I'll celebrate other people's wins much easier than I will my own, because I don't know, I just don't like the attention being on me. And like going years back, I probably would have. So yeah, just like taking your small wins and just enjoying them. So yeah, have at it.
And then see, you're out in the football pitch. It's a lovely Sunday morning. It's quiet. You've just played. You're like, oh, I'll go take some shots. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, 18-year-old you rocks up to do the exact same thing.
You're like, what are you doing drinking in this park?
So you're getting your boots on. You've got 5 minutes with them. What worldly wisdom do you bestow upon younger Caragh?
I've talked about this a couple of times. People might have heard me say this before, but for like so much of my early life, I just placed my entire identity in who I was as a sports person. Anytime someone came up to me to talk to me about something, it was, how's football going? When's your next game? That kind of thing. So I felt like when I wasn't that person, and when injuries have come and when I haven't been able to play, I've just been like, who am I? I don't know who I am outside of that. Didn't really give myself an awful lot of worth outside of that. And I went through a period of not playing for like 4 years. Whenever I was growing up, I thought I didn't play for like 4 years and didn't know whether I'd ever play again. And all I knew in life was sports. And I was like, I have all of this potential. Like, I really think that I could be such a high achiever in sports. Like, I could go to the Olympics or whatever. And when that all seemed to like come crashing down and that I wasn't going to achieve that, I was like so gutted and disappointed, and I didn't know who I was without sport. So I think I would say to myself early on to kind of just figure out who you really are, focus on who you're becoming, as opposed to everything that you're trying to achieve. And yeah, try not to define yourself as just Caragh, the sports person, because eventually that will be gone too, you know, in say 10, 15 years, whenever I'm not playing sports. I have to have something else there, or else I'm kind of just going to fall apart if I don't have that. So don't place your identity in that. And yeah, I mean, I'm still trying to achieve big goals. I want to still go after stuff, but also not allowing those goals to kind of get in the way of who I'm becoming as a person and developing outside of that, because I'm so glad that I made the decision not to go off to Iceland again and pursue that, because that would have stopped then Michael and I probably forming that relationship that we did. And I'm so glad that I stayed at home and didn't go off to pursue that, because that was a life decision. And I'm so glad that I, did that and didn't go, well, if I just come back and play in Northern Ireland, then it means that I can never go off and play professionally. It's still a dream of mine to be a professional footballer, whether that's here or somewhere else, I don't know. But yeah, I'm glad now that we can do that together, and I didn't close that door just to be selfish and sort of pursue things for myself.
Awesome.
That was brilliant.
I'm proud of everybody.
Yeah. Go team.
Yeah, honestly, great job co-hosting.
Thank
Loved
you.
that. That was a
Thank
pleasure.
you.
Mike and Caragh, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it.
Love that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Pringles.
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 Crack open the gin, boy.